Shalom, shalom. I am Brother Nicodemus O. Smith. On this slow walkthrough, I want to focus in on these giants in the Bible for a minute. In fact, the title is Giants in the Bible Explained in the Context of the Storyline of the Bible. I don't know if all that's going to make it to the YouTube title, but it's important that we all understand that we are explaining the giants or the Nephilim of Genesis chapter 6 from the context of the story that is presented in the symphony-like style from Genesis chapter 1 to Genesis chapter 11. That means within the context of the book of Genesis. No disrespect to nobody who try to explain this subject matter in other ways. But this is Hebrew context that we deal with here. And it's important for this playlist because they connect to the flood, which connects to Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. Right? So I pray that this point of view is helpful to all who can sit through it to the end. Let's kick it off with the controversial chapter 6, verse 1 through verse 4. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took to them wives of all that they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. And there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. So these giants are associated with the event that happened in rebellion of the sons of God. They are the product of this union. It doesn't say it like that because the Bible isn't promoting that idea. It is what the citizens of these nations already understand about the Nephilim or the giants. Okay? Before I explain that further, finish reading verse 11. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So we got these superhuman warriors who spread violence in the land. These were the heroes of Babylon and Persia, the human family who make a name for themselves because great men of the name consolidate power instead of share it. And they want, if they want to, I'll take what's yours and eat your food and do everything that's right in my own eyes and build my civilization right on top of yours and erase your whole name in history. So, therefore, the giants or the Nephilim that filled the land with violence for the flood are an important factor for the rest of the scriptures. They are a slot that is often called upon and used by the biblical authors. There's going to be multiple stories when you get to the flood part, which is Genesis 1, verse 2, challenge accepted. It means that all of the elements that exist between chapter 1 and chapter 11, we should expect those elements to be drawn upon for the rest of the book of Genesis and on through the Torah and even on through the rest of the Old Testament. They are caught up in the flood again in Genesis chapter 14. These giants, they show up to discourage Israel from going into the promised land just by being present, the sons of Anak. I think it's in the book of Numbers, King Og in the wilderness is said to be a remnant of the giants. Goliath in the David story is presented as a giant. They are part of the storyline, so let's not minimize their presence or what they represent. It's said that they was there now and later on. Everything else that's wrong with the world is what the Bible is saying about the giants. Now, lastly, the giants are people super tall, have totally different set of associations in our cultural settings, like athletes who are like superhumans in our culture, but we put them into fabricated arenas of war, and we call them stadiums, and they compete for each other, not to the death, but to defeat. And it's like we created modern ritualized warfares with our cities, with our own versions of these superhumans, gladiators in the field of war, right? And we come to realize we're not that far from the ancient world. Since Babylon, again, is everything that's wrong with the world, then we're not surprised if whenever it's time for a decreation moment, the giants show up or something like that or something that reminds us or connects to the giants. Study the Bible, not the Sermon TV. I am Brother Nicodemus O. Smith, and this is just my understanding of the giants so far. And we up.